It's easy to get excited about a new bit of gear or a new variety or a new way of doing things. But once you're in the thick of the season, the thing that really determines how well you do with what the season gives you or avoiding the worst of its pitfalls are the decisions you make every day along the way.
Here in the South Australian Riverland, the 2009 season started well, but when the tap turned off in spring, things went downhill fast.
We had crops that died, or pretty close to it, but then we had 30 mils of rain towards the end of September over a week, which turned the season around significantly. Well, it changed it from being a disaster into not quite so much of a disaster.
With the outlook keeping you guessing all the way through the season, each decision carries a big element of risk management. Which paddocks to plant first? Dry sow or wait for rain? Seeding rates, pre-emergent, post-emergent, rotations, fertiliser, and even when to cut your losses and make hay or let the sheep in. More and more, GRDC is investing in research that's about helping producers make better input decisions. David Shannon is a farmer from Kapunda in South Australia and serves as chair of GRDC's Southern Panel.
In the past, we hadn't seen it as much of our job, and we relied heavily on the traditional sources of providing that information. But the aim of GRDC is to improve the profitability of Australian grain growers in the global grain markets. Now, improving profitability has many factors to it, many sides to it, and getting the actual farm business management right is certainly a large part of that. And it was an area we certainly hadn't done a lot in the past, and it's an area we need to do more in to make sure that farmers can put all the pieces of the puzzle together to make their business more profitable, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
The challenges of the last few years, not just drought conditions, but herbicide costs, fertiliser costs, and even sometimes the price of grain, have made the financial risks of farming more obvious than ever. Nowhere more so than in the low rainfall areas. In 2007, the GRDC Southern Panel urgently commissioned this guide to low-risk farming, especially developed for the low rainfall zones. It's designed to help farmers limit their financial exposure as they recover from a drought year. It helps growers and their advisors prioritise and target spending the following season, as relevant today as it was then.
It was more about backing the surefire winners rather than taking a risk on high potential income, but also potential losses if things go badly wrong.
Like all good strategic management, it requires homework.
Do your cost of reduction figures, work out which are the most profitable crops to grow, but also work out where they're best placed in your farming system and in your farm. So don't necessarily plant every paddock. Pick the best ones that are best suited to the crops that are going to give you the highest return, not necessarily the highest yield, but the highest return. And also look at the level of inputs.
No surprises that the guide recommends a conservative approach when you've had a run of crummy seasons that have diminished your capital. What is surprising is just how conservative. For example, with fertiliser, you might even be okay with none at all for one season. If the rain stays away yet again, you haven't spent money for nothing. And if the season's good, it's a bigger boost for your bank balance. For Robin Schaefer's agribusiness advisor Mike Krause, it's a valuable insight for low rainfall producers.
It's the art of actually sitting back and holding those reins tight. We've understood that this pessimistic or conservative nature in low rainfall farming is probably the more winning formula.
Just as new varieties are delivered by commercial seed companies, GRDC's investment shift towards management decision tools hints that there's a growing need for farm management advisors.
What we've emphasised very strongly in the guide is it really is a structured guide and a process, but it really encourages growers to seek advice, both on financial issues and on agronomic issues, to get the right mix for their farming business.
Problem is that the population of farm advisors is skewed towards agronomy. Those with specific business management expertise are in shorter supply. GRDC is investing to solve that structural issue too. Mike Krause is running this workshop in Adelaide. Part of a GRDC pilot project, it's giving free training in financial planning to agronomists who already work closely with growers. It's a test to see whether the current crop of farm consultants can be better matched to the future needs of their clients.
The strategy from GRDC's perspective is to say, well, if we haven't got more ag economists that can do this sort of stuff, let's train these advisors to help broaden their skill base.
And those taking part say there's growing demand for it.
It's probably becoming an increasing part of our work, so it's good that we're able to get some training in this area because it's an area which our clients are demanding more from us.
Robin Schaefer is one bloke who's right at home with business management as well as the paddock side of farming. And he knows that what he does in here is just as important as what he does out there.
Well, it's a lot stronger emphasis now, but you still always have to have in the back of your mind that in these sort of areas we do make our best returns in the good years, so you need to position your business to be able to take advantage of them, but there's no point being able to take advantage of them if you're not going to be here anymore.